So what is up, guys? Soon the Savage back. Today we're here with NFL Week Tommy Lee Lewis predictions. Right now, even though Tommy Lee Lewis with his first stint with the Saints, he was number 11. Now he is number 14. But it is NFL Week 14 predictions. Man, I gotta get a lot to get to. But of course, as always, if you just want to see a certain matchup, timestamps are in the description below. So be sure to go check out that matchup that you want to watch. Other news, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment down below what you think of this video, and without further ado, got 16 predictions to get to. Let's get this video started. Alright, so we have our very first matchup, a rematch of Super Bowl 53 between the LA Rams and the New England Patriots. Hope to God that this is not anything like Super Bowl 53. Alright, so starting out with the Patriots against the Chargers. Man, I mean, it's the Chargers. Their special teams cannot do jack squat. But anyways, Cam Newton, he was, didn't have to do much, you know, kind of just game managed, threw for 69 yards. And a touchdown. Jarrett Stidham came in at the end because they were up by so much. He threw for 61 yards and a touchdown, so pretty good overall. In terms of rushing, the lead rusher was Damian Harris with 80 yards, but Cam Newton was the only one who would ever get into the end zone as he had 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. In terms of receiving, your lead receiver was Olselesgui. Let's go, God. He had 38 yards and a touchdown, so really, it wasn't like the offense that really did anything. It was your special teams, as you had a kick return. Actually, wait, no. Yeah, you had a punt return, blocked field goal return for a touchdown, and you also picked off Justin Herbert 2 times. So good job. And then the Rams against the Cardinals. This was a big game that you had to win for division reasons, and you won that. Jared Goff, he threw for 351 yards and a touchdown. Lead rusher was Cam Akers with 72 yards and a touchdown, followed by Darrell Henderson with 49 yards and a touchdown. And Jared Goff even gotten in on the action with 1 yard and a touchdown. So very good. In terms of receiving, your lead receiver was Robert Woods with 85 yards, followed by Cooper Kupp with 73, Gerald Everett with 43. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. You know, in terms of your defense, you did force a Kyler Murray fumble and a Kyler Murray interception. So overall, good job, and you did return to the house, so that's definitely going to help. Your defense was clutch when it needed to be, and your offense did enough. But anyways, Rams are favored to win this one by 2. But you know what? With how good the Patriots have been recently, and them surging back to the playoff picture, I'm going to say they win just like they did in Super Bowl 53. And now you have our very next match between the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. Starting out with the Texans, for God's sakes, just save Deshaun Watson. He's in a dysfunctional organization that lost 26-20. He was in tears at the end of the game, and it was just tough to see because he was like top of the league, you know, had a team that was destined for greatness, and then Bill O'Brien fucked that all up. Anyways, but Watson threw for 341 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. David Johnson, he had an okay game, ran for 44 yards and a touchdown. Deshaun Watson, he ran for 30 yards and a touchdown. So rushing game wasn't really on point, but, you know, you guys were throwing the ball more. No Will Fuller, but Kiki Kute did well as the number 1 receiver with 141 yards, followed by Chris Hansen with 101 yards, and Brandon Cooks rounded that out with 65 yards. No one else really did much on the receiving game. In terms of your defense, you fell apart to the Colts. And their offense is kind of streaky to me because, you know, if Phillip Rivers is playing well, then their offense is pretty damn good, and Rivers was playing well. So, yeah, that's the loss for you. And then the Bears, oh my God, you guys blew a big opportunity. You guys are frauds like I thought you were. You know, I'm not shocked. You guys, like, you suck. Anyways, Mitch Trubisky threw for 267 yards, 1 touchdown, and no picks, but he did have a crucial fumble at the end. It was the 3rd and 7 with a little bit over a minute to go. And you guys were in that point where you just need to run the ball out, maybe burn some timeouts, run down some clock. But no, you make Mitch Trubisky throw, get stripped. And the Lions, they take that in for a touchdown, and then they win the game. David Montgomery, he's been surging recently. He's been getting better. Ran for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns, followed by Cordell Patterson with 59 yards and a touchdown. In terms of receiving, Allen Robinson led with 75 yards, followed by Anthony Miller as he rounded out with 56 yards, followed by Darrell Mooney with 43, and then Dave Montgomery with 39 yards. So overall, a pretty good showing by the offense. The defense just was non-existent. Gave up over 450 yards of offense, so lots of problems with that. But anyways, the Texans are favored to win this one by 2. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next match between the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Starting out with the Titans, oh, that was just a bad game you had against the Browns. Like, they got out to a 42-7 lead. Like, it was just that bad. So, yeah, anyways, Ryan Tannehill, he threw for 389 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. In terms of rushing, Derrick Henry just was not there, but they didn't really use him as much because they played catch the whole game. He ran for 60 yards. He also fumbled the ball and lost it, so that's not good. In terms of receiving, your leader was Corey Davis with 182 yards and a touchdown, followed by A.J. Brown with 87 yards, followed by Fursker with 51 yards. So the offense, at least in the second half, was much better than it was in the first half because, like, you guys were so bad in the first half. Like, it just did not seem right. And then the Jaguars. Mike Glennon almost did it. He almost led you to a victory. Anyways, he threw for 280 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. In terms of rushing, your lead rusher was James Robinson with 78 yards and a touchdown. In terms of receiving, it was kind of, it was more equally spread. Johnson, he was your lead receiver with 66 yards, followed by Tyler Eifert with 45 yards. DJ Chark, he had 41. James O'Shai-Cassini, he had 41 yards, and Chenault Jr. had 1 touchdown. So overall, the offense was pretty good. At first your defense was looking pretty solid. You held the Vikings to 6 points, but at the end you reverted to how we thought you would be. You just completely collapsed. Even though I said you'd be the upset of the week, you came damn close. Kind of had bragging rights. Titans, their favorite to win by 7.5. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup. It is a rematch of Super Bowl 50 between the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. Starting out with the Broncos, I'm actually honestly impressed. You almost took down the Chiefs. Your defense, even though it's got a couple of flaws, you held the Chiefs down, but unfortunately they still pulled out in the end. Anyways, Drew Lock, I'm not even sure if he's going to be the answer in the future. He threw for 151 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. In terms of rushing, Melvin Gordon returned to his old form as he had 131 yards, so it's good to see him running again. In terms of receiving, your leader was Noah Fant as he had 57 yards, followed by Tim Patrick as he had 44 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that pretty much was it for receiving. No one else really cracked over 15 receiving yards. And like I said, your defense, even though it had some issues earlier in the season, you guys locked up, almost beat the best team in the league, and you came just short. So honestly, props to you. Anyways, on to the Panthers. They had their bye, and in Week 12, they almost beat the Vikings. Lost 28-27. Teddy Bridgewater, he threw for 267 yards, 1 touchdown, and a pick. Mike Davis, he had to be the lead rusher again. He ran for 55 yards, so he was meh. In terms of receiving, your leader was Robbie Anderson, breaking out again with 94 yards and a touchdown, followed by Curtis Samuel with 72 yards, and David Moore with 61 yards. See, that trio right there is maybe the most underrated trio in the NFL. Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore don't get the respect that they should get because they're so underrated. Like, they got many things. Like, their speed is what is key, although I just wish it could be exploited more. And that's coming from a rival, which you don't hear that often. But anyways, your defense at first was doing well against the Vikings, but the fourth quarter, your defense just completely collapsed. But anyways, Panthers are favored to win this one by 3, so I'm going to say that they win. And now you have our very next match between the Dallas Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals. Dear God, this matchup is going to suck. So anyways, starting out with the Cowboys against the Ravens, it wasn't good. Andy Dalton, he threw for 285 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. So yeah, it was just not a good game for him. Ezekiel Elliott, he ran for 77 yards, so he got a little bit back. Not much, though. Lead receiver was Michael Gallup as he had 86 yards and a touchdown, followed by CeeDee Lamb with 46 yards, followed by Dalton Schultz with 44, and then Amari Cooper rounds that out with 43 yards and a touchdown. So overall, not that great. But one of the biggest collapses that you did have was with Greg Zuerlein as he missed 3 field goals. That would have accumulated them 9 more points, and they only would have lost 34-26. So, what you gonna do? And then the Bengals against the Dolphins, I didn't really expect much. Brandon Allen, he started out the game. He threw for 153 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. But he gets injured and gets replaced with Ryan Finley, who threw for 40 yards and a pick. Rushing was non-existent. Giovanni Bernard only got 30 yards. Tyler Boyd, even though he did have 72 receiving yards and a touchdown, that was his only reception, and he got ejected for fighting. There was a big fight in that game, but that was mainly because wide receiver for the Bengals, Mike Thomas, the dirty Mike Thomas, Jakeem Grant was trying to catch a punt and just completely decked him, just an illegal hit. So it was a fight that broke out, and of course the O-line showed no help, so that's it. The O-line just not helping out the Bengals in any way. The defense was kind of solid because, Tua Tagovailoa couldn't really do much. He was not as flashy as he was in other weeks, but, still came up short. Anyways, Cowboys, they are favored to win this one by 3.5, but you know what? Actually, I'll give this one to the Cowboys and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs. Starting out with the Dolphins, you beat the Bengals, Burrowless, and eventually no Brandon Allen, so you beat a Ryan Finley-led Bengals. I'm really not that impressed that you won. Tua Tagovailoa, he was meh. He threw for 296 yards, 1 touchdown, and no picks. So I definitely expected a little bit more out of him, and he just wasn't there. But Myles Gaskin, he came back, and he ran for 90 yards, so a good little return. On terms of receiving, your leader was Mike Gesicki with 88 yards and a touchdown, followed by Myles Gaskin with 51. Jakeem Grant with 42. That's pretty much it for the receiving. In terms of defense, like I said, it's the Bengals. No Joe Burrow. I would have expected this to be a much better matchup. And, of course, your defense was able to shut them down. But, once again, it's the Bengals. No Burrow. No problem. And then the Chiefs, against the Broncos, I was surprised that it was as close as it was. A 22-16 victory was not something I was expecting. Anyways, Patrick Mahomes, he threw for 318 yards, 1 touchdown, and no picks. Really should have been 2, but to Tyreek Hill. But, of course, there was a penalty that held them back of 1. It was a holding penalty. And, of course, there was just a bad call by the refs that held them back. But, is what it is. Le'Veon Bell, he was the lead rusher with 40 yards, followed by Darrell Williams with 38 yards. On terms of receiving, the lead receiver was Travis Kelce, as he had 136 yards and a touchdown, followed by Tyreek Hill with 58 yards. So he was not as explosive as he once was, but he's still quite a threat. And he really should have had more. I would estimate he should have had an extra 120 yards. That's what he should have had, but it didn't happen. So that really sucks. Like I said, but the defense, it's Drew Lock. Pretty sure he's not the answer. You guys were clutch when you needed to be and got the stops when you needed to get them. You guys are favored to win this one by 7, and I'm going to say that you win, but don't cover the spread. I'm going to say that the Dolphins keep this one a close matchup. And now you have our very next matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the New York Giants. My bad. Starting out with the Giants, you won. You beat the Seahawks. You maybe pulled off the upset of the week with a 17-12 victory. You beat them with Colt McCoy. What? I don't even know. He threw for 105 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. So, it's whatever. Wayne Gallon was your lead rusher with 135 yards, followed by Alfred Morris with 39 yards and a touchdown. In terms of receiving, leader was Evan Ingram with 32 yards, followed by Golden Tate with 30, and Sterling Sharp with 22. So, I'm not going to give that much credit to the receiving game because it wasn't really existent, but, the rushing game, it did what it did and made up for the crappy passing game. The defense shut down Russell Wilson to only 263 yards. You picked him off once and you forced a fumble of him once, so you guys, maybe you could win your division. Maybe you've turned a corner. I don't know. Is Joe Judge the guy? Maybe. Who knows? And then the Cardinals, in a must-win matchup, you lost. Kyler Murray, he threw for 173 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Kenyon Drake, he was your lead rusher with 49 yards and a touchdown. In terms of receiving, your leader was Dan Arnold with 61 yards and 2 touchdowns, followed by DeAndre Hopkins with 52 yards and a touchdown. So overall, the offense was okay. Kyler Murray, when Kyler Murray runs like a madman, when he's like the big rusher of the game, that's usually when you win. But when Kyler Murray gets shut down, has absolutely no ground game, you don't win those games. But your defense fell apart to the Rams, but you know what? They're a very good team. I don't give them enough credit. I've kind of been sleeping on them because, I just think Jared Goff's the most overrated quarterback in the league. None of that matters right now. Cardinals are favored to win this one by 2.5. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Starting on the Vikings, man, you guys barely pulled out a victory over the Jaguars. You won 27-24 in overtime. Shouldn't have been that close, but anyways, Kirk Cousins had a great game, threw for 305 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. I really don't think that he's the problem in Minnesota anymore. I really don't. So, I'm sorry for all the crap that I gave you, but I hate you at the same time because you beat me in the playoffs. But anyways, Dalvin Cook took a little bit of a while for him to get going, but he finished the day with 120 rushing yards. Lead receiver was Justin Jefferson with 121 yards and a touchdown, followed by Adam Thielen with 75 yards and a touchdown. And that was pretty much it. Like I said, though, the defense fell apart to the Jaguars, a Mike Glennon-led Chargers, not even a Gardner Minshew. So I got some issues with that, but, you know, win's a win. Just take it and run. And then the Bucs, in Week 12, they lost to the Chiefs. They mainly lost to Tyreek Hill, though, and Patrick Mahomes. Tom Brady, he threw for 345 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 crucial picks. Lead rusher was Ronald Jones with 66 yards. That was pretty much it. Receiving, your offense took a little bit of a while to get going, but, you know, Gronk led with 106 receiving yards, followed by Chris Godwin with 97 yards. Mike Evans and capped out the day with 50 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, followed by Ronald Jones with 37 receiving yards and a touchdown. So overall, your offense took way too long to wake up. Your defense, we were thinking that it was a good defense. No, that gave up over 500 yards of offense. It is the best offense in the league, and arguably the best team in the league, so I could see that happening. Anyways, though, the Bucs are favored to win this one by 6.5. And you know what? With how hot the Vikings have been recently, give me the Vikings in this week. And now you have our very first 4 o'clock matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Las Vegas Raiders. Starting out with the Colts, good victory. Good win, a little sloppy, but, you know, like I say, win's a win. Phillip Rivers, he threw for 285 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks against the Texans. In terms of rushing, lead rusher was Jonathan Taylor, as he should be. He led with 91 rushing yards, followed by Jonathan Wilkins with 12, and Nyheim Hines, he had 10 yards. So, yeah, Jonathan Taylor, he should be the number 1 back. Lead receiver, even though I've been giving a lot of crap to T.Y. Hilton recently, he's been breaking out. He had 110 yards and a touchdown, followed by Michael Pittman with 46 yards, and Jonathan Taylor also had 44 yards and a touchdown. So overall, a good game by you guys. The defense had some trouble against the Texans, but, you know, Watson's the top quarterback. But your defense is definitely taking a step back. I know we've been saying that it's great. Yeah, you got 2 key turnovers, but I need your defense to step a little bit more. And then the Raiders. Damn! You almost lost the Jets, but their complete idiocy led to that victory, but I'll get to the Jets later. Derek Carr, he threw for 381 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick, so he was okay. Devontae Booker ran for 50 yards, and that was pretty much it. The rushing game wasn't really that good. Anyone still think that Darren Waller is a bad tight end? Well, don't think that anymore. He had 13 receptions, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns, followed by Henry Ruggs with 84 yards and the game-winning touchdown, followed by Hunter Renfrow with 47 yards and Nelson Aguilar with 38. So I got nothing else to say. Your defense just fell apart to the rushing game of the Jets. Did well against the receiving game, forced 3 turnovers, but still really shouldn't have been that close. But anyways, the Colts are favored to win this one by 3. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the New York Jets and the Seattle Seahawks. Jets, what the fuck were you thinking? It's a Hail Mary play. You know that it's going to be a Hail Mary, and you choose to run an all-out blitz. You left a rookie, undrafted cornerback against the second fastest guy in the league. I don't know how you expected to win that, but for God's sakes, the Jets jetted again. Darnold threw for 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick, and he also lost 2 fumbles. Johnson was the lead rusher with 104 yards, followed by Adams with 74, and Darnold with 26 and a touchdown. So rushing's there. Lead receiver was Jamison Crowder with 47 yards and 2 touchdowns, followed by Denzel Mims with 40 yards, and that's pretty much it. Defense, goddamn, Greg Williams deserves to get fired, but so does Adam Gase. So yeah, nothing else to say about you guys. And then the Seahawks, you lost to Colt McCoy. Russell Wilson threw for 263 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 pick. He is out of the MVP race. Right now, I'd say he's 4th. Because right now, the top 3 are Mahomes, Rodgers, and Josh Allen. Those are the top 3. Wilson, even though you were a lock at the beginning, you dropped down to 4. So unless you go sicko mode at the end, you're not winning MVP. But anyways, Chris Carson ran for 65 yards, followed by Russell Wilson with 45. Lead receiver with DK Metcalf as he had 80 yards, followed by Tyler Lockett with 63 yards, and Chris Carson with 45 yards and a touchdown. So overall, the offense wasn't that great. Like, I expected way more out of it. But like, Russell Wilson got eaten alive as he got sacked 5 times. And your defense lost to Colt McCoy. I mean, yeah, you did fall apart to the rushing game, which is meh, but still, you lost to Colt McCoy. But anyways, Seahawks are favored to win this one by 13.5, so I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. Starting out with the Packers against the Eagles, pretty easy victory. 30-16, Aaron Rodgers threw for 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. Aaron Jones ran for 130 yards and a touchdown. He wasn't once what he was last year, but he's still pretty damn good. Lead receiver was Devontae Adams with 121 yards and 2 touchdowns, followed by Alan Lazard with 50 yards, and then Robert Tonyan with 39 yards and a touchdown. So overall, a great offensive performance. You know, your defense was able to shut down Carson Wentz enough that he gets benched in favor of Jalen Hurts. And in his first game, Hurts was, he was aight. You know, could have been better, but, you know, he's going to be going against the Saints, so I'm a little worried to see how that goes down. But anyways, and then on to the Lions. Oh, you guys are lucky. You are lucky that Matt Nagy just was awful during a time when they're supposed to run at the ball. But anyways, Matt Stafford threw for 402 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Adrian Peterson was just amazing as he had 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lead receiver was Marvin Jones Jr. with 8 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown, followed by T.J. Hawkinson with 84, and then Quintez Cephas maybe made touchdown catch of the year as he had 63 yards and a touchdown. Only other person to have a touchdown was Jesse James, and that's pretty much it. Your defense had a lot of trouble against the Bears, especially their rushing game. The receiving game you did okay against, but other than that, you know, barely pulled out a victory. But anyways, the Packers, they're favored to win this one by 8. I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Atlanta Falcons and the LA Chargers. Starting out with the Falcons, you came pretty damn close against the Saints, lost 21-16. Matt Ryan threw for 273 yards, 1 touchdown, and no picks. Rushing was absolutely ineffective. Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones just had a great day as they ran all over that Saints defense, combined for over 200 receiving yards, but no touchdowns as the touchdown went to Robert Gage. And that's pretty much it. Matt Ryan, he did have 1 crucial fumble, and biggest issues with you guys, the offense was, you know, wasn't able to go in for the kill as you were forced to kick 3 field goals. The defense allowed Taysom Hill to look like he's a top quarterback. Taysom Hill's got that potential, but anyways. And then onto the Chargers. Oh my God, you guys were just terrible. Justin Herbert threw for 209 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 picks. It's sad. Austin Eckler ran for 36 yards, followed by Khalil Ballage with 34 yards. Lead receiver was Keenan Allen with 48 yards, followed by Mike Williams with 43, and Guyton with 38. That's not even the issue with you guys. The issue with you was the special teams, as Michael Bagley, he missed 2 field goals. One of those got returned for a touchdown. The Patriots ran one back for a touchdown off a punt return. And yeah, you guys, like, their special teams just completely clamped you up. As, yeah, your special teams was awful. It's, you know, it's just the same. But anyways, Falcons are favored to win this one by 1.5, but I'm just going to say Justin Herbert completely thrashes this Atlanta defense, so give me the Chargers to win this game. And now you have our very next matchup between the New Orleans Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles. Starting out with the Saints, close game against the Falcons, pulled out 21-16. Taysom Hill looked like he could actually be a pretty decent quarterback. Threw for 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Alvin Kamara had a good day as he ran for 88 yards and a touchdown. Taysom Hill, he also ran for 83 yards, so he did well. Leader receiver was Michael Thomas. He's breaking out again, had 9 receptions, 105 yards. Y'all can't guard Mike! And I still can't flex because I've got noodles under all the sweaters that I'm wearing. Tre'Quan Smith, he had 42 yards and a touchdown, followed by Emmanuel Sanders with 39 yards. And then Jared Cook with 28 and a touchdown. So overall, not bad. In terms of defense, you know, the issue was we kind of reverted back to our old ways where either our defense was getting burned or taking stupid penalties. It was a little bit of both of our lockdown and old Saints, but it was just enough to pull out a victory. And then the Eagles, Carson Wentz, goddammit, he's bad, gets benched for Jalen Hurts. Hurts threw for 109 yards, 1 touchdown and a pick, and about a half, so there's room to improve. Lead rusher was Miles Sanders with 31 yards. Jalen Hurts also ran for 29 yards, so not too bad. Dallas Goedert, he had 66 yards, followed by Greg Ward, who had 57 and a touchdown. Jalen Reagor only had one reception for 34 yards. And Zach Ertz, he's finally back, but he only had 31 yards. Use Ertz more. He's your best target right now. But the defense fell apart to the Packers, because the Packers, they're a top offense. I could see that completely happening. But anyways, Saints were favored to win this one by 7, so I'm going to say that we win and come this. And now you have our final 4 o'clock matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Washington football team. Now, San Francisco, because Santa Clara County, because of their new COVID protocols, this game has to be played in Arizona. But anyways, on to the football team. You did it! You stopped the undefeated season of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Alex Smith, he threw for 296 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. You didn't have Antonio Gibson, so the rush game wasn't really that good. Peyton Barber ran for 23 yards and a touchdown, so yeah. But anyways, lead receiver was Logan Thomas, as he had a great day, 98 yards and a touchdown, followed by Chris Sims with 92 yards, and J.D. McKissick followed that up with 70 yards. So anyways, but your defense did well against the Steelers. You forced turnover, but at the same time, the Steelers, they just would not stop passing the ball. They would not exploit the run game at all, which was really shocking. It really was. And then on to the 49ers, you lost the Bills. I mean, the Bills are an up-and-coming team. You guys have way too many injuries, so I wasn't sure how you do. Nick Mullins threw for 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Lead rusher was Jeff Wilson with 47 yards and Raheem Mostert with 42 yards. On terms of receiving, your leader was Brandon Ayuk. He was a great pickup, as he had 95 yards and a touchdown, followed by Deebo Samuel. He returned with 73 yards, followed by Kendrick Bourne with 35, and yeah, that's pretty much it. The defense was absolutely terrible. Josh Allen, because Josh Allen was maybe the biggest question mark going into the season. I knew if the Bills were going to be successful, he needed to turn around. He did. Dramatically. But he is doing very well, so I'm happy to see that from him. But anyways, the 49ers are favored to win this one by 3.5, but you know what? Give me the football team in this one right now. They're super hot, and they're going to win this game. And now you have our Sunday Night Football matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. Starting out with the Steelers, well, you lost to Washington. The undefeated season's over. Ben Roethlisberger threw for 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. In terms of rushing, where was it? Big Ben threw the ball 53 times. Why don't you guys use more of a rushing game? I know James Conner is injured, but just run the ball more, and it would help you win. You would have more time with the ball, and could have beat them. But anyways, James Washington was the lead receiver with 80 yards and a touchdown, followed by Deontay Johnson with 71 yards. Ebron had 68 yards, followed by Claypool with 38, and Smith-Schuster with 28. So, yeah, the ball was spread around all the receivers. The defense had trouble with the football team, even though, yeah, got nothing else to say. And then the Bills, Josh Allen looks legit. He threw for 375 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Devin Singletary with 61 yards. In terms of receiving, Cole Beasley, man, I undervalue him so much. He is such a good receiver, had 130 yards and a touchdown, followed by Stephon Diggs with 92 yards. Greg Davis had 68 yards and a touchdown. Isaiah McKenzie had 31 and a touchdown. And Dawson Knox, been pretty quiet this season, but he had 27 yards and a touchdown against the 49ers, so that's pretty good. The defense had some trouble with the 49ers, but a lot of the damage was done in the second half. You guys had a pretty sizable lead, so, I'm not too concerned about that. But anyways, the Bills, they're favored to win this one by 2. I'm going to say that they win, cover the spread, and prove that they are a legit threat in the AFC. And now you have our Monday Night Football matchup between the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. Starting out with the Ravens, you won? You beat a banged-up Cowboys squad, but you won. I'm going to say it's positive traction. Anyways, Lamar Jackson, he threw for 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick, but he also ran for 94 yards and a touchdown, so that's pretty good. Gus Edwards was your lead rusher with 101 yards, followed by J.K. Dobbins with 71 yards and a touchdown. You guys, literally, if you just run the ball the whole time, and if it works, I'm not going to make Lamar Jackson throw because you guys had 294 rushing yards, so it's justified why Lamar wasn't throwing because the run game was just on point. So good on that. Hollywood Brown had 39 yards and a touchdown, followed by Miles Boykin with 38 yards and a touchdown, and that was pretty much it. The defense, you stopped the Cowboys. I mean, a big part on why you won by 17 was because Greg the Leg missed 3 kicks, so could have made the game closer. But anyways, the Browns, are they legit? I don't know, but Baker Mayfield had a great game against the Titans, threw for 334 yards and 4 touchdowns. It's kind of seemed like he's been playing better without Odell Beckham Jr., so that might be a concern. Nick Chubb ran for 80 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Rashard Higgins, as he had 95 yards and a touchdown, followed by Peoples-Jones, as he had 92 yards and a touchdown. Jarvis Landry, he followed that up with 62 yards and a touchdown. And then the final touchdown went to Kendall Lamb. He's an offensive lineman, as he had 1 reception for 1 yard and a touchdown. So, anyways, defense was good in the first half. The first half, you guys were good. The second half, it completely fell off as you pulled out. You guys, you had such a big lead. You led by at least 28 points, and you only won by 6. So that's a bit of a concern for you guys. But anyways, Ravens are favored to win this one by 2. But you know what? Give me the Browns this week. They're going to improve to 10-3 and prove that they could be legit. And that is going to wrap up my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you want to see all my other prediction videos and all my other Saints recaps, links to all that will be in the description below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment down below what you got as upset of the week, lock of the week, all that. Also subscribe to the Copping Suitor podcast. We're going to be coming out with a new episode next week, as we missed ours last week, so that's rough. But anyways, also make sure to follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok @SudaSavage. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Who Dat Nation is